Hi everyone, this is Cherry Enchantress with Pixie Dust Tarot, and this is your daily dust for Sunday, June 11th if you're watching in real time, but it can also be for whenever you stumble upon it. It's also a timeless reading. I am, however, doing a theme of inclusive decks, a variety of images that represent a variety of people, and also in honor of Pride Month and Juneteenth. And the Seasons of the Witch is one of those decks that has really beautiful spectrum of images, really adorable art. And even though I like to use tarot decks, I don't have that many inclusive tarot decks, so either I repeat or I go to some of my oracle decks. And I was thinking I really like this oracle deck, so I want to go ahead and use it. The Seasons of the Witch Beltane is for Beltane, which is May 30th. April 20. Oh, Beltane. April 30th. April 30th? Yes, April 30th, May 1st. Okay. I just had a dream that somebody was born on April 29th. No, it was August 29th. Okay, never mind. Some kind of flash, but it wasn't making complete sense to me. So anyway, this deck is really beautifully done, edged in this honey gold, and it's infused, like this whole deck is sort of infused with a honey essence. And even though Beltane was back in May, I still feel like that Beltane energy lasts pretty much the whole summer until we get close to Maybon, and then we'll start shifting into the fall-like energies. All right, let's see. Let's just take 3 cards. Ooh, bonfire. Bonfire is good. We have Fire Festival. Okay, we can have a bonfire at the Fire Festival. And Oracle. Sorry, my thumb had a primal. I didn't want you to see my my boo-boo. Okay, let's zoom on in, and well, we're kind of zoomed in. Let's zoom in a little bit more. It's interesting, the color spectrum. Of course, there's kind of this golden honey color throughout the whole deck, and sort of honey accents throughout, but this is very golden black energy here. So the Fire Festival is saying, through flame and through song, there will rise a new dawn. The Oracle is saying, spirits of other worlds, tell me tales of the unknown, tell me tales of the forbidden. And the Primal card, that's very cool, says there is no other way around but through the very truth that lives within you. Ha ha! It's an interesting Sunday then. But this also, like I said, can be for whenever you stumble upon it. Sometimes the messages are profound, and sometimes they're sort of simple and mundane. This is giving me very profound energy. And when that happens, it doesn't always necessarily mean it's for a specific day, but it can be. Sometimes you have just the epiphany type day where spiritual enlightenment, you rise to a new level, and it's very special, unique kind of day. Sometimes you get a message for a particular day that clues you in on more things to come. So we have the number 11, 28, and 32. There is, it seems very likely that some people out there will be engaging in some kind of ritual work, whether it's with fire or not. But even when you just light a candle for any reason at all, just if you like the smell, or if you like the peace that the fire or the flame brings, or have you ever noticed when you light a candle, you whisper a little bit, and suddenly there's a hush in the air, and you hear the crackle. Like, a lot of times we quiet down just to hear the crackle of the fire, because there's something very beautiful and magical about it. Certain candles, you know what? I'm gonna light a candle for you. The only thing about this candle, though, or any candles around my phone, I've had the thing where it burnt my phone. So just, but I want you to see how sometimes the flame can pop and crackle. I'm not sure if this will do it. You hear it a little bit. It pops. And sometimes the flame gets really big. And it grows, and sometimes it gets very tame and reduces. Sometimes and that makes us want to hush and listen, as if it's speaking to us, or it's telling us, giving us a message. So you may want to, you may be someplace where you're outside and there's fireflies. That's really beautiful when you are at a festival with fireflies, or it doesn't have to be a festival, just being outdoors in general. So this is generally, though, about it may be a ritual that you need to do to burn away doubts and fears and worries, and letting the weight of your stress and anxiety burn and like incinerate. In other words, like there may be different ways that you've approached releasing your fears, but maybe fire is the right way, like writing things down on a piece of paper and burning it away. Generally speaking, though, worries, like I know there's a lot of people with extreme situations out there, and I'm not diminishing them, but certain worries, may seem so valid, but they're probably not as important as they seem, or as bad as they seem. Sometimes it has to do with overthinking. Sometimes it has to do with shifting your perspective, or organizing your priorities, or just thinking about what it is you truly need and want. Sometimes it's just thinking what I just need, what will it take just to make me feel at peace? Do I have everything I need? Most of the time it's yes. The things that we fret about or worry about are things that we may want, but we don't always need occasionally. So be in a mindset of that. But in general, I think fire will bring you a certain sense of peace. And whether it's indoors or outdoors, or some kind of festival attached to it, or some kind of intention attached to it. And because it's with the oracle, it makes sense that it's magic work here that you're doing. So I feel like spirits and ancestors are calling to you to do some kind of spell work, magic work, intention work, something like that, ritual work, to release and let go, but also in kind of a renew. It's interesting, in my daily dust yesterday we had the death card, and death card is sometimes great about, it's like blank slate, starting fresh, everything from zero again, Ooh, it makes me think of ground zero. Ground zero is not necessarily a positive word phrase, but ground zero, when something is no longer there, it's a memory of it. It's like a phantom limb or something. And it's important to recognize and appreciate what was once there, but it's important also to let go eventually so you can move on to the next phase. So don't be afraid of the messages that are unfolding in your life, and the beings who greet you, and the energies that are around you for your highest good. All you have to do is ask for their guidance and protection, and then you will receive it. Just out loud. Sometimes we just forget to do this, and I forget all the time. I have such powerful energy around me, helping hands, helping energy. Of course, a lot of people share Archangel Michael, and he's one of my favorites. Sometimes you just ask God or Jesus, or even those kinds of ascended masters that have been people that spirit energies that we've traditionally grown up with can always be there, no matter how our spiritual mind shifts. The spiritual energies that we've always grown up with can always be there, but maybe not in the same form as they were when we were younger. It doesn't matter. It's like they're still there protecting you. So, and they may have different names now. Maybe you changed religions or whatever. You're calling things different names if you want to, or maybe you're not naming anything, and maybe just you're just saying the word universe instead of God. Sometimes we do things like that, right? But like I said, there isn't a protective energy out there. And even if you don't believe on something outside of yourself, know that you love yourself. There's a love for yourself that you may have to tap into once in a while, but you know that your higher self has the best intention for you. Of course they do. Of course you want the best for yourself. That seems kind of a logical conclusion, right? And so how better to take care of yourself than to quiet down and listen to your higher self speak to you. And sometimes it's speaking from the future. Sometimes it depends on how, your perspective. It feels like it could be from a higher place. It could be feel like a hug, like sitting right next to you. It could be any of those energies, however you want to see your higher self looking out for you. But your higher self, I see sometimes the higher self as a scout. Like the higher self already knows what the future is going to hold, even though the future shifts and changes and variables can make things different. It's almost like the higher self scouted out the future and it's like, okay, as the way things look right now, this and this and this is going to happen, or this is your highest potential, or if you go down this road, then you're really going to, make it to a great place. And that's your intuition working there, because it's your higher self reporting back to your ego self or your regular self and letting you know what's going on. And so tap into your own oracle, tap into that higher self energy or any guides and spirit energies that, are surrounding you. Ancestors, fairies, angels, messengers of any kind, in any way. Bees? I don't know. Anyway, and then look, see, there's another thing that I wanted to mention other than just candles. Incense is a great fire-based flame scent. There's a healing from, there's a lot of healing that we can do from all aspects. Like we can have aromatherapy, and incense can be a type of aromatherapy, but at the same time, water with certain drops can also be a type of aromatherapy. So it's interesting how this today is speaking of fire, but it doesn't have to be, but it feels like for the majority of you, you're going to use this fire energy to tap into a special place and a special kind of healing and intention work. I see myself mostly as a water fairy or celestial fairy, but I do use all elements in my rituals and in my intention work. So the primal is talking about your accepting of yourself, accepting of who you are, your higher self, your power, your abilities, and accepting too of what is at hand, not always pushing for an outcome that's not right there, because sometimes when spirit comes through and gives you an outcome and you don't accept it, if you keep saying, no, it's got to be like this, you're micromanaging spirit. You told spirit, hey, I need your help, and then spirit helps you, and they're like, no, spirit, you got it. No, you got it wrong. Think about what you're doing there, right? So receive the energy the gift that, be a good gift receiver. Receive the gift, whatever form it is, even if it doesn't seem logical. Like, is this what you're giving me? Like the fish in the cup with the Page of Cups, I see that right now. Like, is this what you're giving me? Yes, this is exactly what you need right here, right now. Universe knows, your higher self knows. Okay, so there's just no other way around but the truth that lives within you. There's a primal force that flows through each of us. There's several different forces. Primal is an interesting one. There's spiritual, and then there's ego, the material and ego self. I would say material is kind of neutral, but ego is so material that you forget the other things, right? Where your awareness, you're unaware. Your awareness has left that building. Your higher self and spiritual self is the aware self. Primal self is interesting. It's going back to your roots. It's tapping into the animal essence inside of you, which is not neither good nor bad. It's got a little bit of shadow to it, which is kind of exciting. So sometimes it's fun to tap into the shadow. Sometimes it's scary. A lot of times it's scary. But the primal side of us can be kind of a really good clue. And some of that has to do with just being out in nature, not dealing with our phones and our devices, and being more pure to the world, instead of being manipulated by our society or social world. Being more pure to the primal parts of the world, the elements, being more elemental. So, oh yeah, there's a Disney movie called I think Elemental Elements or something like that. Sounds interesting. And I've been kind of like, one time my daughter came by, and she's older now, she's not a little kid, but she came by, we were watching Pixie Hollow and all the fairies that have a different element that they're associated with. Even there's a really cool Netflix series with fairies called Winx, and they each have an element that they use to for their powers and abilities. So it's fun to kind of tap into, what is your element? What's your main element? You can figure that out for yourself. But even if you, like me, are a water fairy or a celestial fairy or a fire witch, or I mean a water witch, or a green witch, most people, I would say, are green. If they're witches, they're usually like the earth witches. But there are fire witches out there, and so maybe that's what you are, and you're tapping into it, this wild energy. Fire goes along with Wands energy, which is more it's just abandoned. It's more abandoned. It's more instinctual a little bit. It's a little bit wilder. It's a little bit impulsive. Yeah, so you may be tapping into this. You know when that you're primal. You're still a primal being when your tummy rumbles and you feel the urge to eat, or when you have sexual desires come over you and you feel urges, right? It's the urges that kind of remind us, oh yeah, I'm an animal. And and there's urges that for our sense of survival, like all of those things are still important, seeking shelter when it rains, or when we need a quiet place, if whatever, we need those primal things that are out in nature. When you watch those like Naked and Afraid or Survivor, even, and those shows where they're out in a primal kind of natural world, the main thing that they first build is shelter, and then they definitely have to hunt for food, because that'll be the next thing, and definitely need to find a clean water source, because we can't survive without water. So in learning how to build fires, fire good. So like, these are some things that you might just be tapping into on your own, learning how to build a fire without actual matches and lighters. That'd be kind of a cool thing to do someday out in some kind of camping trip or something like that. So it just sort of feels like an uninhibited, just free energy, non-modern, no societal boundaries kind of day, tapping into your higher oracle self, and that will really, really get you out of, if nothing else, get you out of this mundane, everyday pressures of society, then this definitely will. Like, tapping back, it's back to that same phrase that I had in my head a couple of days ago. Remember who you are. Oh, I know. It came from my it was from my live. Terry had that reading, and some other people that night. I kept hearing Mufasa tell Simba, remember who you are. Well, that was all about, his power and his lineage, as far as the lion and the tribe and all of that. But I see too, like, we need to remember who we are, where we came from, the primal place we came from. We're not we're not all this hustle and bustle and loud stuff. Another great book, before I leave, I'm like rambling and rambling, but before I go, this is a long one. I never go this long, but I hope you enjoy it. A book that you might like is The Celestine Prophecies, because in chapter 2, it talks about sort of the history of man. And we've only recently, in the last few decades, moved into a time of where our focus and our attention is consumerism, and having things and possessions and that kind of thing. And so keep in mind that there is an underlying force that's sort of making us stressed out about things, right? The things we have, the things that we own, the things we possess. Shelter is shelter, and yeah, you want and need safety, and there's certain things that need to be that are necessities for you, right? But remember, some of your decisions could be about something that you just want, but that's not necessarily that important, right? It could be a bit of wanting it for the wrong reasons, just to show off or to keep up with the Joneses or something like that. So be aware of yourself in that aspect of you, who you are, right? And remember your primal self. And if you can tap back into your primal self, then maybe you'll get a different perspective of the whole picture. And I hope you like that. Faith, Just a Pixie Dust.